While the hosts and guests are encouraged to express their views, they don't necessarily reflect those of the management of Portland Sports Network, but they likely do.
Welcome, Portland sports fans. I've got an echo. I don't know why. I haven't had time to look at the information here and the setup, but we've got a little one going. I'm not real worried about it. I'll try to get it during some commercials. Hopefully you don't hear the echo. It's just on my side. But welcome, Saturday morning sports fans, to Portland Sports Network, Off the Rails. I think we also call this Portland Sports Saturday. But I'm the only person here today, John Thayer, Coach John Thayer. And we're at Portland High School. So if you want to come over and talk and spend some time, we definitely can. We're here at the Portland High School Kids Football Camp. So we're right up on the track. The kids are out here now running. It's a pretty warm day, but hey, football's all about being a warm day. Hopefully my co-host, Kyle Eden, will show up soon. He's got work-related things going on, but we're here today just to check these kids out, maybe get a couple interviews with some coaches and what's going on and what they're trying to get accomplished, so on and so forth. But anyway, like I said, I'm flying it solo right now, so we'll do the best we can. We'll break away to some commercials here so I can get some echo feedback figured out. Where did that come from since the last time we had a show? I'm sure one of the buttons are pushed down or something like that doesn't need to be pushed down. But again, welcome. Hope everybody's having a great summer so far. It's been nice. I've got to go to Louisiana and spend some time with my grandkids this past weekend, and that was a great time, let me just tell you. Youngest had a tournament, 9 and under. They've had a rough season, but they pulled it all together the last weekend and won their tournament, so that was fun. Hot day down in Houma, Louisiana. And then my oldest grandson's high school sophomore this year, and they played their summer league game. What they do down there is have a high school summer league, so they play all that, and they played Monday night, and he had a couple hits and had a good ball game. I think it was 1 for 2, to be honest with you, and a walk. But anyway, they won. Good game. I was proud to watch them play, and then we drove home on Tuesday. But here we are at Portland High School today. They're getting everything ready for their segments here. Apparently, what they teach at the football camp is fundamentals, speed and agility drills, offense, defense skills, competition, and teamwork. 7:30 to 8 was registration. 8 to 8:20 was welcome dynamic warm-up. 8:20 to 8:45, they worked on speed and agility drills. And I believe they did that inside because they just came out just a little while ago. 8:45 to 9:30, they're going to do their offensive skill rotations. 9:30 to 10:10, their defensive skill rotations. 10:10 to 10:20, they're going to have a water break, dehydration, chalk talk. We're going to cut out around that time. I've got a baseball game I need to get to in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Then when they roll back, we'll be gone, but they'll have a competition period from 10:20 to 11:10. 11:10 to 11:40 is a flag football scrimmages. 11:40 to 12 o'clock team challenges. So what they're going to do is when they warm up, they do high knees, butt kicks, lunges, arm circles, sprint build-ups. In their second phase, they do the ladder, quick feet, cone reaction, sports shuttle. Coach Moore's in charge of that, from what I can understand on here. Their offensive skill rotation, their quarterback target throws. They'll have rollout, quick releases. Coach Dupree's in charge of that. The running backs will do cone drills, ball secure, rotation handoffs. Coach Combs has got that. And then the split ends and route running, tennis ball catching, sideline toe taps. And Coach Smith has got that. And then on the backside, our offensive linemen, which, you know, I don't care how good you think you got skilled guys. If you don't have a good offensive line, you're not going to win football games. They're going to do mirror shuffle, stance start, hand place, on shields, the defensive skills, the defensive line, and Coach Rush is going to do the offensive line. Defensive line is going to get off the drill, pass lane, hands up, cone rip. Coach Walker and Moore's got that. Linebackers got shuffle on the field, angle pursuit, tackle dummies, flag pull. Coach Amarez got that. Or I'm just going to call him Coach Miguel. I'm not calling him Coach Amarez. At first, I looked and go, who in the heck is that? And then I go, oh, duh. Coach Miguel's what everybody affectionately knows him as. The defensive backs are going to do back pedal, shuttle, break, ball tracking, mirror coverage. Coach Lambert's got that. Then their competition period, they're going to do relay races. That'll be fun. They need to do competition period first. I'm into relay races. And by the way, I'm going to interrupt myself. University of Tennessee's 4x100 meter boys men's relay team won the NCAA championship yesterday. So that was a pretty impressive feat. I don't know who the guy is on the back leg that brought it home for us, but it was really close until the very end. It was close all the way, but the team they finished second was right on their heels. The fourth leg guy brought it all the way home. But after the relay races, sprint relay, football carry relay, back pedal relay, then they're going to do quarterback accuracy target practice for points. That's going to be extremely interesting. Receiver competition, best catch, best routes, or excuse me, fastest routes. The defensive challenge is going to be interception contest, flag pull competition, and then the flag football scrimmages, which will be fun. It's 30 minutes, 7-on-7, no tackling, no excessive contact, which what's excessive contact in football? I say the meanest, ugliest kid pop you as hard as you can. There's no Derrick Henry here. We no hands-off period, so we're going to hit. That's what it's all about. If you don't hit, you're not going to win. And then the team challenges, tug of war, which is always a blast no matter what you're doing. Team relay, coach versus player race, that's going to be extremely interesting. I don't know all the assistant coaches. I'm thinking Lambert's probably the one who's going to blow everybody away on that one. I know Coach Miguel's not. He's an old guy like me, and these are just
He's not participating
He's not
in
what
that.
what they used to be.
My knees done said no go.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know if mine's going to wake up and work. All I can tell you this is whoever invented a bike is my hero, because that's how I can get my cardio in without killing myself. Then they're going to recognize MVP, fastest athlete, best hands, best teammate, hustle, and then they're going to have cool down, stretch, huddle, group photos. So it's an interesting day. Like I said, if you don't get
And then
nothing,
lunch. They're going to have lunch afterwards, yeah. That's not on there, but they're going to feed them lunch.
well, lunch is always fun. But if you're not doing anything this morning, you're out here, just come on by. You can bring your chair, sit up on the track. If I know you and like you, I'll interview you, a matter of fact. But anyway, it'll be fun. I can't read lips, though, by the way. You'll just have to put it on a piece of paper. You know how many times in my life my wife has asked me something to read her lips, and I'll go, I don't know what you're saying, honey. Well, it's not over yet, and I need to know you want to be interviewed. I'm not like the Donna and Mike show. I don't chase people around trying to get them on their video here. I'll actually ask you if you want to join the thing, and then you're going to have something productive to say, obviously, which, that's not hard because I'm on here and I have never anything productive to say. But anyway, the kids, I don't know how many there are here. I can't.
I've got
40?
Coach Moore here ready to interview if you want to start interviewing. He's the one that was in charge of the warm-ups and what we did on the in the indoor.
Okay, I don't really know. Remember, I'm the one guy out of the crew that's not an interviewer. But we'll try. Put him on a headset, and we'll say, how are you doing, and all that kind of stuff. So we got Coach Moore hooking up his headset here. Hello, Coach Moore.
Howdy, howdy.
You picked the worst guy to be interviewed by because I don't interview people. But you're Coach Moore. What positions are you coaching this year?
I coach the defensive line right now. I was just focused on the DNs. We've had a little bit of a change, and so right now I'm doing both groups. Man, I love the athletes that I have to work with. They are a great group of dudes. They're super coachable. We've got some seniors right now that have a lot of talent. I'm certainly blessed for the opportunity to work with those guys.
That's cool. What kind of defensive front are you guys going to run this year? Have you decided yet? Or are you still looking at what your athletes look at? Or, have you predetermined that is what I'm wondering?
We are going to be running a four-man front as it is. And out of our base, that'll be a 31. We're looking at having our DNs in a 2-point stance at the moment, really focused on containment, while our tackles have responsibilities over A and B gap, just setting the line of scrimmage, reacting to the blocking techniques that are put on them. And we had, before Coach Inman ended up stepping away, the tackle's responsibility was mostly to set up the linebackers. They were legitimately just acting as blockers for the linebackers.
Right, which is pretty common.
It is, yeah, and it's a system that works very well. Coach Eckert has switched things up on us a little bit, and they've adapted to it well. And they don't have to just focus on that so much, but they are intended to get their hands on a targeted offensive lineman to set that gap, blow things up, and then react and play football from there.
Yeah, me personally, I like blowing things up. I cause havoc in the backfield as quick as you can. But anyway, so how long you been here at PHS?
I've been at the school this will now be my 8th year, and I'll have been this will be my 9th year at the school. It'll be my 7th year coaching.
Cool. So, is this the first gig you've had here at Portland High School as far as coaching high school, or did you come from somewhere else? Or you look young to me. You look like you just came right out of college 9 years ago.
Yep. So, out of college, yes, this is the first place that I've been. I helped out with my alma mater a little bit at one point, but that's just coach having older guy come back. So
right. Where's that at? Where's your alma mater at?
It's not
Hopefully
around.
Don't say White House.
It's not around. No, it's not. No. It's actually not around anymore. It was a private school. I'm one of those kids.
I have no problem with a private school kid.
Cool. Glad
Me
to
and Coach Miguel bump heads on that sometimes, off and on. But private schools. He's anti-private school. I'm all about. Does anti mean against? Yeah, I'm a private school guy. I'm not against public schools by any stretch of the imagination, but both of them serve really great purposes.
Yeah,
and
certainly.
I've got a kid right now that's a senior at Franklin Road Academy. He's got 35 scholarship offers on football right now. He's going to decide at the end of this month where he's going. He would have never had, and it's just not the football opportunities. A lot of times the private schools, they do a really good job getting you ready to go to college. I think that's their sole intent in a lot of purposes, and to turn you into good character. And I'm not saying he wouldn't have been a good kid without this, but the young man that he's turned into because of the curriculum and the way they do things at Franklin Road Academy was huge for him.
Yeah.
Right. So everybody's different, right? It's my son went to Portland High School. He graduated. He's a good guy. He's got a full-time job, 3 kids. There's nothing wrong with him.
Yep.
Or, play college baseball and that kind of stuff. But I'm not against either one of them.
Absolutely.
Should intermingle as far as playoffs go? I don't think so. It's 2 different classes, and I think they've done a good job trying to separate that. If you want to play them in the regular season, sometimes it's good to play teams like that. It teaches you a lot about a lot.
Yeah.
Especially if you got a couple kids that want to play college football, and they go up against kids that are probably going to play college football. It kind of is a good gauge on where you need to be and that kind of stuff early on. So I'm a big private school and public school fan. How's that?
Absolutely. Well, listen, at the end of the day, every parent's got to make their choice that they do believe is best suited for their kid, and every kid's going to be different. And everyone's doing their best, man.
Yeah, and you can't begrudge anybody for doing what they think's best. If it was all worked out and we already knew what was going to happen, it would be easy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But you just never know. I mean, great parents.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have bad kids. Sometimes bad parents slip up and get a good kid. That doesn't happen a lot, but it does sometimes. But all parents say the same thing. They want to do what's best for their kids, and it's a tough row to hoe. It's like we're talking about up here, the one-time transfer rules and stuff like that. I'm for it, for the simple fact is you can get into a program. Sometimes you don't even know your child might be good at 2 or 3 sports. Don't know where. You're still young, and you get into high school, it starts separating a little bit.
Funny story, we actually have to start doing efficacy trainings on recruiting based on the one-time transfer rule now. I just thought that was funny that we now have efficacy courses on transfer rules.
Well, what they need to do is monitor a lot of these summer programs in baseball for sure, because that really pulls a lot of people in some different directions I see it all the time, and
I've heard heard our baseball coach have that conversation with multiple individuals at this point. I guess it really is baseball that is affected by that pretty strongly, isn't it?
yeah, because their summer program might have ties to another school, and then they try to pull that kid to that school kind of deal. You know, we've had, I don't want to name names because I don't want to get in lawsuits and
Oh,
stuff.
of course
but
not. No, I would not.
I know some kids personally from different organizations that the reason they're at that school is because their summer coach coaches at that school. And they pushed them at an early age because, they're smart. They get them really early. And they try to influence them, and I'm not got a problem with that either. If that's the best program for you to go to, if once you get in high school, you figure out that basketball's your thing, and you're at a school that doesn't have a good basketball program or a good basketball coach. Luckily here at Portland, we've got one of the best basketball coaches around. He's grown so much in the last couple of years.
Both
men's
and women's.
Right?
Both
yeah,
those guys.
for
both
sure.
Those guys.
There would be no reason to transfer. But if you were happen to get to a program or school that they didn't honor that sports like they should, I could see moving.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have another alternative.
Yeah.
So what was that school? Did I ask you that already?
You did, yeah. So it was called Aaron, and as I understand it, the principals we're kind of looking for an opportunity to start phasing out sports programs within their, for whatever reason, within their system. And it took one or two bad years out of the football program, and then that was all they needed to, say, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. And then I think the basketball program lasted maybe 3 more years, somewhere thereabouts, and then they nixed that as well.
Right, but that's Aaron Academy, right?
Yeah.
They still do baseball, though, don't they?
Do they?
Yeah, I really think they
interesting.
do. But I think they do it where you don't. They flag it under homeschool, where you don't have to go to campus. If you're a homeschool kid, they still have a team. Because I remember seeing them on a couple schedules this year, and I thought, okay, because that's their home. They've got one up in Bowling Green that I don't know what they call it up there, but it's the homeschool team. But I think down in this area, Aaron Academy is who they tagged that to.
That's interesting.
It is very interesting. So, anyway, what's the season look like, you think?
Well, the schedule that we have is it offers some quality challenge, and I certainly believe in our boys and what we have in front of them. We are we're blessed to be in a scenario in that we're in a 5-man region, right? And so what we have to do to make sure that we win a playoff spot is a little less demanding than what other schools have.
Yeah, beat Hunter's Lane.
Well,
we want more than that, though.
Yeah. We do. But watching as things are coming together right now, I think that we'll be a really strong team as far as playing for 4 quarters, giving a high level of effort and maintaining quality through all 48 minutes of the game. As long as we can stay healthy for us, that's going to be a really, really big deal this season. I mean, it always is at the high school program, but just looking at our depth chart right now, we got to keep our boys healthy, and that's been a focus of our weight room right now, is including mobility exercises, challenging not just various muscle groups, but like joints, tendons, anything that you can expect to give. We try to stay on top of those, hopefully mitigate that as much as possible throughout the season.
Right. Yeah, that's really important for sure. And I know conditioning, weight programs, all that stuff is so critical. There's been times that sometimes the weight programs aren't emphasized as much as they needed to be. And even in baseball, a lot of kids, they think baseball's totally different. You don't have to do that kind of thing, but you need to get on the weights. There's some weights that are a little bit non-baseball friendly. You stay away from those. The weird thing I tell all my kids from the time they're little, like I do the middle school team, when they first show up, the one demand that I have is jump ropes. And it's amazing how many don't listen to you, but it's amazing if you look at some of the greatest, like fighters, they jump rope.
Absolutely.
Because if your feet are trash, everything else is going to be trash. It's hard to overcome bad feet. you can do it on a low level of competition, but once you get to a point that you think you're going to be a college athlete or you're trying to be an all district or all regional guy, if your feet are trash, it's going to show.
Absolutely.
And it's that normally when a kid comes to me after a senior year and he doesn't get a college scholarship or an offer or anything, first thing I ask him is, how much did you concentrate on your feet? And you'll be shocked at me go, well, not very much. And I go, well, there's nothing to talk about.
Yep. And then, okay, with jump ropes, right, that's a kind of a stamina-focused exercise. And so you're doing lots and lots of reps with jump ropes. And I believe that with the majority of exercises, it is usually better to focus on high amounts of reps when you're focusing that as an athlete. You want to keep time under tension within an exercise. And obviously players want to move around all kinds of weight. That's the competitive part of them, right? Which is a good thing. That's a great thing when your players are strong, right? I've coached on programs when I've coached seasons when we're not so much like that. It's usually doesn't bode well. But at the end of the day, getting kids to understand the importance of exercises that keep time under tension and continue to challenge muscle groups and, like I said, joints and tendons through lots and lots of reps, that's what's going to make them a better athlete at the end of the day. Because there's a big difference between just having weight room muscle and an athletic body in general.
Right. You're right. That's the one thing up here. See, years ago, like baseball, we never had fourth block when my son was playing. Now, basketball and football did, where you could do weights in off season during that time and that kind of stuff. But that's what Coach Kington up here was one of our coaches at basketball, and that was the biggest reason I liked my son playing basketball as well, as that was the sport that they actually took weight serious. Like I said, baseball, they didn't have time.
Right.
They didn't get to get on the field till end of the day, into school, roll into that. You've just got minimal amount of time that you can do that kind of stuff. Fourth block is a big help. Now they do have fourth block for all the sports, I'm pretty sure. So your weight training, your pyrometrics, or did I say that right? Plyometrics. Yeah, that kind of stuff is so critical that a lot of times, the athletes don't put as much focus in as I think they need to.
Oh, absolutely we do. My philosophy with that is kind of summed up in this way. Because we like to have lift-a-thon, and because being able to move some serious weight does build confidence, and you want that. You want that confidence piece. During the wintertime from January to March, we do reps-focused exercises, and we'll go sets of, 8, 6, 4, and then building up on percentages and have them put a lot of weight on the bar. But once we get past that lift-a-thon, once we get past that competitive stage of moving weight, we switch things up to timing-based exercises. And so for 45 seconds, they're just moving weight and just continuing to move weight for 45 seconds, keeping up those plyometrics, keeping up that time under tension, and they're building bulk that way, which is honestly, you're doing that more so than you are just doing low amounts of reps and high amounts of weight. And we need to put bulk on our players. You've got to be able to have some body mass behind contact.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree totally. So, away from school, do you watch football? Is that one of your things?
Big Titans fan, buddy.
Are you really a big Titans fan?
Born and raised in East Nashville. So I grew up going to games. The church that I still go to, is right across the street from the Titan Stadium. So we park there and then just walk over to the games. Cool.
Well, they got a whole new regime in there this year, and hopefully it'll work out. I don't know until Miss Amy sells the team if it's ever going to totally work out. But I don't know. I'm hoping. I mean, I'm years ago there wasn't a football here in Tennessee, so you just tag whoever you tagged, and I like the Seahawks because I lived in Seattle for a while in the military. But I'm a Titan guy too. I mean, it's rough, the last few years how everything's kind of deteriorated from a team that could get into playoffs, with a break here or there, or even we were in the playoffs or something, to a team that just stunk it up. But hopefully we get the right people in spots and draft the right people, because it's all about drafting. And your free agency, too, because, you don't want to do an Albert Hainsworth kind of deal where, but they should have seen that coming, because if you look at his career at University of Tennessee, he was kind of the same way. He turned it on when he the quote money was hanging close. But
that's true.
That happens to a lot of athletes. Once they get that big contract, they just quit pushing. And if you think about it, you can see it two ways. One is that's your only job. So putting that time in shouldn't be that difficult, but working hard athletically is hard. It takes a constant training over and over and over. You know, most people, they don't really think about how intense that is. You're a 30-year-old man. You've got millions of dollars, but you still got to put that work in, and even
Yep.
more when you get older, right?
Yep.
You can't let up at all. And I could see how mentally you could let it go.
Oh yeah, for sure. If I put myself in their shoes, if I knew I had a couple million sitting in the bank, buddy boy, I'd be all right.
Yeah, and I mean, it would be tough because those
It
days you're
would,
pulling
yeah.
a sled up a hill and you're dying and you want to get out of everything. You know, those two things play. When you're hungry, it's easier to do it.
Oh yeah.
But when you've been fed or you got extra food in the cupboard, it's harder. It's just,
yeah.
it is what it is. That's why I try not to be too critical on them.
Oh,
but,
for sure.
you know, you have a big contract, so you need to do your job if you can.
Right.
But
right.
it's a tough balancing act for head coaches. That's why a lot of, you know, college coaches get into pro coaching, and it's a different ball game. It's those guys are getting paid. You know, the college guys, they still looking up, so it's easy to kind of shove them because they're still looking up.
Yep,
But once
yep.
you're up,
Yep.
you know, it can be mentally more difficult.
Oh, for sure.
And I
for
respect
sure.
the guys that never, you know, Ed Reeds and those that always work. You know, Derrick Henry, he still puts in the time, what they say. And by what he looks like on the field, I believe it.
Oh, absolutely, I do. Yeah, I'm sad he's not with our program, man.
Yeah,
that hurt me.
It hurt a lot of people. There's a lot of Ravens colors floating around nowadays because of that.
Yes.
But anyway,
Yep.
I appreciate you joining us. Sorry about the terrible interview. I'm not.
What you talking about?
I'm not very good at it.
I'm having a great time.
You're
I'm
good.
having a great
You
time.
filled in all the spots on your own. I
I'm
hate
having a great
interviewing
time, man.
people. I'm not good at it at all. But you made me look better than I am. But thanks for joining us. Good
Hey, I
luck
appreciate
through
y'all.
the season. We'll see you during the games when we
Thank you very much.
broadcast on Friday nights.
Man, I look forward to it. I appreciate all y'all do, for sure.
No problem. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's Coach Moore. I appreciate him coming by and talking. Why are you working me so hard, Coach Miguel? I normally just off the rails kind of guy, like give, you know, like college baseball scores. If you didn't watch college baseball games last night, what are you even thinking about? We had Ole Miss lost to North Carolina 6-2. Really good pitchers duel for like 6 innings or so, and then, you know, the Mississippi got 104. The 104 was his magic number to get the home run hit off of him, and then the Troy West Virginia game was back and forth. I just don't want to hear "Take Me Home, Country Road." So no, what is it? Yeah, West Virginia. If they didn't, and they sing like the whole song, it's like, you know, most time when. No, Rocky Top is not that long of a song, though. I mean, we don't sing the 3.5 minute version of it. They sing the whole John Denver. I mean, they get in the fourth quarter, and you can tell the players are out after the first verse. They're going, I don't know the rest of this song, people. Why do you got this camera in my face? But anyway, so that's going to be interesting today. And then I don't know who we got. We got an all SEC day today. So let me see what that looks like here. Coach Lambert probably knows right off the top of his head. But it's all SEC baseball. No, I don't want to update scores. See, isn't that weird? The minute you go into something, the app goes nuts on you. Let's go ESPN. Okay, here we go. Saturday at 2 p.m., Oklahoma and Alabama. What two teams do anybody hate worse than those two teams other than Florida? Dude, I don't think I could. I think I have to pick Alabama just because Coach Miguel's standing right here. And there's another reason that I'm not going to say, but it's nothing about you personally. But there's another part in my family thing that we just can't be for Oklahoma. Because, well, no, my wife, the lady she works for down the road, is an Oklahoma person too. So you just don't want to go to work and hear it. You know what I mean? Only when they win. Yeah, they did. They won't happen very often, let me just tell you. And then Texas and Georgia. I don't know which team I hate. I don't like either one of those teams either. Yeah, well, that was easy. It was Tennessee, and they choked like they seem to always do when they get to the World Series. Even though you got to admit that she fired her hitting coach right out of the gate. She said, we ain't hitting enough. Hit the road, dude. And who'd they steal from, A&M or Texas? They took Texas hitting coach, didn't they? So we'll see how that works out. Sometimes the assistant coach isn't the stud; it's the head coach that just like Nick Saban, right? I mean, you're going to be successful defensive back coach with Nick Saban.
Oh, yeah,
because
absolutely.
He's not going to allow you not
Yeah,
to be.
he's going to be right over your shoulder the whole time.
Yeah. So we got another. Where's Kyle at? Get in here, Kyle. Do an interview, dude. Are you here just to watch little kids play football? He's so much better. We're going without Kyle. You know, he's a prima donna. You have to pay him a little bit. You got to pay him a little bit of money. I work for free, and I guess the clock don't start to him till 10. So we'll go. So introduce yourself, Coach Lambert.
Yeah, I'm Colin Lambert. Be my 4th year coaching here at the high school. Do the defensive backs for the defensive side.
Cool. So this is your 4th year,
Yes, sir.
and you're a graduate from Portland High School.
Yes, sir. Yep, graduated a long time ago in 2012.
That's not a long time ago, but anyway.
Feels like it.
Yeah, I remember you playing football up here. So, and then you went to Tennessee Tech,
Yes, sir.
and how'd that go? You like Tech? Good
Yeah,
school?
it was great. I didn't do a whole lot my first year, and then walked on, did 2 years with football there, my sophomore and junior year, and ended up in rugby my senior year before I graduated, and really enjoyed that. And I mean, Tech's a pretty great place. Cookville's nice. It's a good town. College is just big enough to give you that experience, but still small enough where you can go home on the weekends or whatever if you need to there. So really enjoyed my 4 years there.
Yeah, I've got some good friends at Tech people, and for a while Tech was one of the deals, and now Chattanooga, a lot of kids are wanting to go down there for whatever
UTC's
reason.
really blown up here over the last few years.
Yeah, it's crazy because it used to be where you're going to go to school, and you'd have your, Vanderbilt for the real smart kids and UT for the kids that like to party, and then you had Cookville, and then you had WKU. But then I never remember anybody ever saying Chattanooga.
No,
And
yeah,
then just all
Western
of a
was really
sudden-
big there for a while too.
Yeah,
I feel
then
like
all
that
of
was
a
a big one.
It was, and then all of a sudden Chattanooga. And every 3 kids I'd ask, "Where you going, Chattanooga?" I go, "Really?" So that's real interesting how big it's grown. So this last year we had a pretty senior-oriented group. Had a winning season, got in the playoffs. This year, on paper, we're young. How you think it's going to work out back on the defensive back part of the deal? You got a couple kids coming back that's going to, like Rubio's back, right?
Not as right now. We haven't seen him in a little bit there, so I think he's dealing with some personal issues. We'll figure that one out.
All right.
But,
so because at the end of the year, he kind of disappeared, and then he came back, and he was in the purple and white game.
Yeah, he had a really good spring. I mean, he's battled with a couple of big injuries over the last few years. He's had a dislocated shoulder, what was it, like a fractured back or something there he got at one point, and so he's had a rough go with that. So he's kind of trying to go through that, trying to figure out if his body's got it in him, because he's one of those kids. I mean, he's a great kid, and he does everything he does at 100 miles an hour.
Right.
So he's got to make sure that he feels comfortable and being able to hold up through, I mean, the gauntlet of the schedule that we play here with 5A football in Sumner County. It's a hard go for 10, 11, 12, hopefully 15 weeks there. So.
Yeah, it's tough. I broke my leg my junior season of football, and I just really didn't have it in me my senior year. It just, for whatever reason, it's like something was in there that part of it just left.
Yeah.
And I thought I was all good to go because I got well and did my practice and working, but when we started hitting, I didn't feel it like I used to. I would hit anything back in those days, which was probably stupid of me.
Coming back from something like that can be like he had a hard time with that shoulder, just trying to get comfortable. It was his right shoulder. It's what he always wanted to lead with. And, I mean, I've always joked around and called him the human torpedo. When he comes in from 15 or 20 yards, 150 pounds, whatever the kid is, you're going to know that he got hit by him. So to do that with a dislocated shoulder is
that's
putting
tough.
a lot on him.
That shows a lot of character on his part to even want to attempt doing it. So, but hopefully he'll come back and that's selfishly because I like to watch athletes with that kind of motor and that kind of intensity. So hopefully he'll get everything worked out and come back.
He's a great competitor. I've really enjoyed him. He'd be the one back there. If he comes back, he'd be my 4-year starter there. So I've had him out there since he was a freshman, calling the secondary for me and everything. So it'd be really nice to see him come through and finish all 4 years.
Yeah, I hope so too. Selfishly, just because I like to watch good football players, and he's definitely one of them. Who else do you got back there? Do you want to do any names yet, or do you want to just wait and let them? Yeah, it's kind of early. I don't know if you want to make them hang out for a while and work a little harder before you shout them out, or you got anybody you want to say that look like they're doing good so far in the warm up in the early parts of practices and stuff.
Yeah, I felt like we had a really good spring with a lot of them. We've got a couple new kids that have come in, a couple of last year's freshmen that have really stepped up. So there's going to be a few spots where we're going to be pretty young. Right now, our two corners, we're looking at probably Eli Huddleston and Reese Fletcher. They're both just going to be coming into their sophomore years, but really great kids, really good athletes, had really good years at the JV level last year. That's playing up for them being freshmen, and they handled that really well. So they've both really stepped into that role and worked really good there. We've got I think he came in from Westmoreland, two brothers, the Lenning brothers. Josh is probably going to be getting some reps at corner on a Friday night there as well. And so that'll be our big main bulk of our corner rotation with Alex Niswonger coming in and out there. So he's going to be a lot of focus on offense, I'm sure. And then safety, we're going back to the 4-2-5 here again this year. So I've got three of them I get to deal with. We'll have Lane Greer and Liam Morrill at strong safety right now, trying to find a couple extra bodies for a little depth there, hopefully. And then we've got Toot. What is his real name? I'll say Toot so much. Lawrence and Fletcher will be one of our safeties. We've got Weston Napier back there. He's had a lot of experience. He started JV since he was a freshman, so he'll have a good bit of experience there as well. And then Donovan Bellino really stepped up in the spring. I was very happy with everything he did when he would get out here and how he seemed to respond and handle that well. So he'll probably be that main guy at safety that bumps back and forth between that, what we called the weak safety and the free safety this year. We got a couple of different names we're implementing and everything now with that new system. I'm still working on learning those, but I think we've got about 4 or 5 pretty good kids there we can use at safety. That'll give us some good competition, and then another 3, 4, maybe 5 there at cornerback. That'll hopefully keep everybody from getting too complacent there, help everybody keep grinding and working and improving throughout the year so we don't get stalemated at any point with any of it.
Cool. So I know this is kind of an open-ended question, and I'm just wondering because I know things that I look for, but I'm not on the field like you are all the time. But when you're picking a kid, to start or to move them up, you got kids that want to hit. You got kids that are really good at the X's and O's stuff. What is your main thing? I mean, I know there's a multitude of main things, but what's the first thing that catches your attention for like a freshman kid when you're watching the freshmen out here playing? What's the first thing you notice that you go, man, I can make this kid something?
Biggest thing for me is we usually start in, T-shirts, maybe helmets, something like that, so we don't get the physical right off the bit. So the movement is huge for me. Tell my kids all the time, if you can't move, you can't play defensive back. You're going from a shuffle, a back pedal, a 45-degree run, turning around, flipping your hips into a full sprint. You got to be able to move. If you can't move and you can't move efficiently and quickly, that's where we're going to lose steps. We had a pretty big issue with it, I felt like, my first year, and so we've done a lot of different things to work on it since then. When we'd get out of that pedal and we would try to turn and run with receivers, if we were in a deep zone or a man, our hips were slow. And, that guy's coming at a 10-yard sprint. So if you flip those hips slow when you make that transition, you go from having 3 yards of cushion to being 2 yards in a trail. Yeah. And, that makes it really difficult. So movement's my big thing. I feel pretty confident in being able to teach a kid, like, hey, we got to come downhill. And I don't need everybody back there to be torpedoes. But if it gets to you, I got to have a tackle. He ain't got to land flat on his back, but he's got to come to the ground one way or another. So usually teaching them to come downhill, make a tackle, X's and O's, stuff like that. You can implement that. You can rep it. You can learn it 7-on-7, team, individual, all that type of things. But we start every day with about 5-10 minutes of EDDs, our everyday drills, and we move. It's almost like a small conditioning circuit for them. We're pedaling, we're weaving, we're opening, we're flipping back and forth because, again, if you can't move and you can't move quickly, I can't put you back there because if I can't trust you at the end of the day, then that makes you a liability and it puts me as a liability as a coach.
Right. Well, I know I grew up playing running back and linebacker, but I know in intramural they put me at DB at corner, and I did one play and said, I'm not doing this anymore.
It's hard.
Yeah. I mean, I've never played lineman, so I don't know that. And obviously quarterback, a lot of it, the more you have to read things, I think the harder it's going to be at quarterback. If it's more of a just handoff left, handoff right, that kind of stuff, it's not overly complicated, right? But that position, when you got to cover somebody that knows where they're going and you've got no clue, that's just personally the ultimate hard. I tackled the dude. I mean, I opened up like I was supposed to, I thought, and there was no way in my mind that he was by me, and I just grabbed him and got a penalty. But I told the intramural dude, I said, I was in the fraternity at Boston P. I said, no more DB. Put me back at the little linebacker.
Well, it's the one position on the field where if you mess up, there's nobody there to make you right. Offense, defensive line, linebacker, you hit a wrong hole, you don't fill a gap or whatever. On the D line, you got a linebacker scraping to fill it. You miss a gap as a linebacker, you got a safety coming down to fill
right.
it. Everything's got somebody to counteract that. And I tell
safety
them,
net.
Yeah, if somebody gets behind you, it's done. Everybody in the stands, the crowd, whatever, it's clear as day. You can see it. There's nobody to take care of you. No safety net, like you said. There's
you can't point a
no
finger at
denying
somebody.
it. Yeah, if somebody's standing behind you, you can't argue that. Well, I thought he did. No, hey, dude, he's behind you. You're a deep third. You're a deep half guy. You can't have it. So there's nobody to make you look good at it. It's either you do good and it turns out good, or you mess up. And majority of the time, if you mess up, it's 6 points. So it's a lot of pressure.
You're right. And another thing too is the DBs. They're normally in situations where when they have to make a tackle, they're coming quick, but it's an open field. And the running back, I mean, if the good running back's going to have moves.
Oh, yeah.
And a guy that come in and make a tackle. I thought one of our best guys last year making tackles in open field was Keelan. You taught him, and I know he didn't always play. He played end and linebacker and all that, but you played a part in it. All the coaches play a part in teaching kids how to tackle. But as far as being a bullet,
oh yeah,
a missile to people and making the tackle, you can be a missile and not tackle anybody.
Oh yeah, you put that head down.
And Rubio was really good at that.
Yeah, I'll give Lane Greer grief on that. We've worked on that for 2 years or however long I've had him. He'll come in and he's a missile just like he was, but he puts that head down. I'm like, dude, you can't see it, you can't tackle it.
But
that's
to me, that's one of the
man.
toughest things on a football field to be able to do that, to go fast, to want to kill somebody, but to be under control at the right time. And like you said, keep your head up because, I mean, you can look stupid really quick.
Oh, yeah. And Keelan was great. He was one of those kids I really, really enjoyed having him for all 4 years. And, it helps when you're just the stud of an athlete he is with the arm reach and everything he has at, 6'3", 6'4", whatever it was he ended up being at. I mean, he did really good, and he was one of those, especially there at the end. You tell him something one time, and you never had to repeat it to him again. He took it, he accepted it, and he listened and did what he needed to do, and he was one of those I could have thrown him out there at any of the 5 positions in the secondary, honestly, and I would have trusted him to do whatever he needed to do. He knew what was going on the field, and like I say, he was a great athlete that you could trust and put about anywhere you wanted to.
Yeah, and the way he played, you knew there had to be a spot somewhere for him. Like, I don't know what he's going to do in college. I don't know. I would think they put him on the defensive side of the ball. He's just so good over there to me. He's just a game changer on that side of the ball. And we'll see. I just hope he gets up there like I told him personally is don't get up there looking to come home every chance you can.
Oh, yeah. There's no trips home when you're doing that.
Yeah, that's the first thing kids seem to do is they get homesick in week one. Everybody gets homesick, but you've got a mission, and you're up there. If you get free time's for grades. The free time is how about get to know somebody different, right?
Yeah,
new group of people. But anytime a kid goes off to college and a week later I see him in town somewhere, I'm kind of like, dude, this is not where you need to be right
it's
here.
It's not for everybody. I think he'll do good with it. He's got that mentality to him. He seems locked in, ready to go. And when he announced everything with Lindsey Wilson, we went back and forth a couple times and chatted. I was really excited for him. I'm looking forward to seeing him up there and getting to see what he can do. Him and Josiah both.
Right.
Didn't have Josiah at DB. He was a little thick for the backpedaling, but he was a good kid still, and I'm excited to see him out there.
And they both got that's been the biggest thing is when kids go off is they want to come back as soon as they can, and they just don't need to. If I could, I'd put a fence around each school they go to and just say stay in that perimeter and don't worry about coming home. Like I told Keelan, I said, look, man, your friends are always going to be your friends. You're true friends.
Oh, yeah, you can be home after your 4 years. There's always a chance to. I mean, I swore up and down I would never come back, and I've lived here since 2017 again.
Right.
So.
And even if you don't, we're always going to remember you.
Oh yeah,
right.
We're like
not.
Keelan, yeah.
Your memory's not going anywhere.
No.
So all you can do is maybe enhance it a little bit more if you can, get a year or two good in college. I don't know. And you get your education. That was the first thing I told my son. There's so many kids, especially in baseball with transfer kind of stuff going on. So many kids go to school and they don't graduate. And I told him, I said, that's not even an option. I said, I don't care if you don't get on the field at all ever. I cared, but that your goal was your education first. And then once you get that education, everything else is secondary. But don't come home to me in 4 to 5 years and don't have a degree. I said, that ain't going to happen in our household.
Yeah, if you're going to go do it, you might as well get some financial help there with it, hopefully, and have a little fun with it on the side when you're doing it. But that's the big thing, taking care of everything and just learning how to balance it at that level. You're going through 4 to 5 hours of meetings and workouts a day. You've got 1 or 2 practices a day on top of that. I mean, my roommate almost moved out at one point my sophomore, junior year. We talked. He's like, you're never home, man. Like, there's no point in us living together. I'm like, well, it makes life cheaper for everybody. But, I was gone at 5-something in the morning to get to the APC for workouts. And by the time you went to meetings and film and practice and meetings and film again and your afternoon workouts and your class schedule, I was 14, 15 hours a day that I was gone from the apartment. But at the same time, it's an experience that I wouldn't trade for anything. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, and you obviously did great because, look, you're coaching now and helping kids try to reach their dreams.
Yeah, some of the kids might argue with that, but, I try to do the best I can coming back and helping out here a little bit.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of them. I haven't had one negative comment about the way you do things on a football field. So that tells me a lot because normally when you get the kids one-on-one, especially when they get seniors, that's the one thing that I've always been told is when you coach them 4 years, the hardest year is their senior year. Because you've been there.
It's hopefully coming to an end, or not hopefully, hopefully coming to an end
and
there.
they've heard the same stuff for 3 years. They're thinking, if I ain't figured it out now, I'm not going to figure it out. Yeah. But I know you're busy. Thank you for joining in.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you guys and everything you do, and I'm looking forward to a great year here at Portland again.
Good job. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bye. All right, we're going to do a few commercials here, and we'll come back, and maybe Mr. Kyle Eden will join in on the fun.
In the city or in the woods, help keep America looking good. Give a hoot, don't pollute. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Forest Service.
From phones and laptops to toys and tools, many of our favorite things run on batteries. But when tossed in the trash or recycling bin, these batteries can spark intense fires that are nearly impossible to stop. Battery fires are happening more often. They've destroyed homes, burned down garbage trucks and recycling centers, and, tragically, taken lives. When a facility goes up in flames,
then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do.
What you desire, don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com, and remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
This is Coach Danny Thompson, Portland High School Hall of Famer. You're listening to PHS Athletics on Portland Sports Network.
This is Portland High School Hall of Famer Philip Gunnar Thayer. You are listening to PHS Athletics on Portland Sports Network.
Tennessee Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial was created to plan, encourage, develop, and coordinate the commemoration of the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States and recognize Tennessee's integral role in that event and the impact of its people on the nation's past, present, and future. The Commission promotes an inclusive statewide celebration and educational commemoration of America's 250th by interpreting and preserving Tennessee's unique stories, objects, landmarks, and places across our diverse state that defined who we are as Tennesseans and Americans.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire. How to control the flames. What to do with hot coals. How to secure your chains. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
All right, we're back here at Off the Rails or Portland Sports Saturday or a day at the football field, whatever you want to call it. I do know I need to make one adjustment for some whatever reason has gotten off. And I hit properties. That's cool. And hey, Kyle Eden is with us. Unbelievable.
Good morning.
The voice of, I don't want to embarrass you. You're not the voice of the Panthers.
Thank
you. You're the voice. Why would that bother you anyway? Nobody, you haven't heard anybody
Usually
feel
when people say that, they think of football first.
Oh, do they?
We need to give that honor to Mr. Jennings for sure.
We'll give it to Mr. Jennings, but you're the voice of the basketball and baseball and soccer Panthers. And track and field, if you'll show up to track and field event, I'll let you have it. I don't need that title at all. Obviously, if you hear me do interviews, I'm not very good at it. But anyway, monitor off. That's what the problem is. It needs to be right there.
Well, I couldn't stand it. It sounded like you were having so much fun, and I couldn't stay away.
Did you?
I was not going to allow you to.
I was not having fun. If I have to
own.
interview people, I hate it. If I just can talk and say what I want to say, I love it.
Well, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it?
No, it's not, because you got to go, what school did you go to?
You
What do you like about coaching?
You don't got to.
But what do I need to do? Like, if I don't know, and you know me, I'm a baseball guy first. It's baseball season right now, so that's on my mind. What did you think about the games last night? Surely you watched them.
I did. I didn't watch much of the second game because I am a international soccer fan. So
okay, that's cool.
Men's World Cup was on last night, and I was not going to. And if you've ever watched soccer, there is no timeouts.
Only when I have to
and stuff. So huge fan. So I was more on that. I did a listen on the radio to that first game. I'm looking forward though to the Georgia-Texas. That's the one I've been kind of keeping my eye on.
That'll be interesting. By the way, there's something, I don't know who's doing it. I think ESPN. I think it's called The Last Train or something, where they're going to every city that's hosting a World Cup game.
Okay.
And they went to every city, went to each stadium. They went, I think the finals are going to be, I don't even know, but they were in Vancouver, BC, Seattle, Washington, Los Angeles. They talked about 84 or something when our soccer team first kind of came out of nowhere.
Okay.
And did some good, but they're not playing at that arena anymore, which was Pasadena. They're playing at SoFi Stadium.
That's one, yeah.
Yeah, that's where they went to that one. Then down in Miami, New Jersey, where the Giants and Jets split that facility. Mm-hmm. But it was cool. I still haven't gone. They went to Mexico. I haven't watched that deal. Right. But they go to every city via a train, and they go to talk about the city a little bit, and then they go to the venues that.
Is that a Netflix thing or a? Oh, you said ESPN,
I think
didn't
it's
you?
ESPN that's doing it.
I'll see if
Now,
I
the
can
dude
find that.
who's doing it, he's a famous soccer player, I'm guessing, but he's foreign, so sometimes
that
he
makes him a
kind of
soccer
sounds
player.
like Dracula or something. But I think he does a pretty good job. But there's times he has some, you don't quite catch what he's saying totally, but it's good. And then the two co-hosts with him, one's from Canada, one's from the United States. They're ex-lady soccer players, so it's an interesting show. But I like travel stuff like that. Like when they went to Seattle, man, I was loving to see Pike's Market.
Yeah. Well, this is just a huge event, having the World Cup, because the World Cup is the penultimate of international soccer.
So they do
I'm
that
not sure
every
what
4
you can
years?
compare. Yes.
It's Olympics of soccer, right?
There you go.
Even though they have
Yeah.
soccer in Olympics too,
Yeah,
Doug.
yeah, but you don't.
It's even better.
You don't always get your best players during
Oh,
that
really?
moment.
During the
Yeah.
Olympics, you
Yeah,
don't?
sometimes you don't.
That's interesting.
It all depends. But this is the big deal. And for the United States, or North America, I should say, to be able to host it, the logistics of that had to be ridiculous, because you just named off just a few of the actual stadiums that are hosting the soccer events. I can't imagine being a fan and me saying that I'm going to go to every single one. Who
Right.
knows?
Atlanta, that was one
you
of
could be
them.
cross country, and once you get to the knockout stage, it's crazy.
Right. And I know they were real big on being able to get to the stadiums.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was like they have this list of stuff you have to be able to do, and mass transit was one of the big things.
Okay.
They don't want people to have
Makes
to
sense.
drive
Yeah.
to stadium. They want them to be able to be in a hotel, show up from the airport, show up. That was real important in when they were picking the venues.
Right. Well, we're just starting. I think there's only been 4 games, but I've not heard anything negative as far as things like that, which is a big deal. Now, what we have heard negative, of course, is the price, the cost of some of these games. Some of these, depending on where you're sitting, you can play up into the thousands per seat. And I think that's the big roar now. One of the games on Thursday, they feel like it was about 60% capacity, which, if you're going to make them that expensive, that's what you're going to see. I'm going to hold out until they get past the group stage if I'm going to pay that much money.
Yeah, I don't like
catch
when
them
you
then.
overprice stuff. I think it needs to be reasonable for the fans. That was the one thing I liked about the College World Series yesterday. It's for the opening round. I mean, that's what a lot of people don't realize is until you get to the final 3, the final 2 when you best of 3,
Right.
most of those fans are semi-local. Right? You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So for them to pack up a stadium like they did last night, yesterday the 11 o'clock game, or 1 o'clock, it was 1 o'clock, was phenomenal crowd for the very first opening day. And then last night had a really good crowd too. And that just shows you how much the community of Omaha supports the thing.
Well, I know during the softball World Series, and I heard you and Miguel talking about Oklahoma. There was a ton of Oklahoma fans that were there.
Well, I mean,
and they have they get season tickets every year,
right?
And they weren't going to give it up,
Right.
even though Oklahoma wasn't in it, because they said they think so much of the sport, and they even had Texas fans that they meet every year there. They
Right. Well,
sit
they
side by
support
side.
the sport.
Yeah, so they was trying to make sure y'all were still coming, ain't you? And they were like, yeah.
Yeah,
we'll
they want to fill that venue up because they're proud of that. Because I can remember I don't remember how many years ago. I've been doing what I do for a living for 42 years now. 30 years ago, maybe, I had to spend 2 weeks in Oklahoma City, and I didn't have nothing to do, and it was during the Big Ten softball tournament. And it's at the same venue.
Oh, okay.
And I remember going, and it was nothing then like it is now. I mean, a lot's happened, but that league, them people around that area really do softball because that place was packed for softball. And after work every night, I go to the hotel, drop my stuff off, and put on a pair of shorts and go watch softball. And they really behind it. That's why a lot of times you worry about, like I mentioned Hoover the other day to somebody, the SEC tournament, the way Hoover gets behind it. I know there's prettier ballparks, newer ballparks, blah, 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 but it's not, the ballpark isn't the total experience. It's the people who support the events. And the SEC would be really stupid to leave Hoover. It'd be the same thing with the College World Series softball.
So you don't see no reason for them to
I don't see
rotate
a reason.
and go to other areas.
Absolutely not, because it's not the fans.
It's not a home stadium too, I think, is a big deal.
Right.
Right.
But I mean, like Atlanta, you can get the Braves ballpark, I'm
That's
sure,
true.
for the SEC tournament, but you're not going to have the traffic
Yeah.
that you're going to have constantly is Hoover, because those people do like Oklahoma City. They buy tickets every single year, that group of people.
Right, right.
You know, I know some people from up here that go down religiously to Hoover.
Oh, really?
Yes, every year. That's
No matter who's in it or
yeah, that's their College World Series because they don't want to drive all the way to Omaha. They go to Hoover, and to build that up, it's like the junior college. It's not junior college. What's Fall State? Community College World Series. It's somewhere out in
I mean, call it a junior college,
Colorado.
though.
Junior college is down there in Colorado, Grand Junction or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've never even been to Grand Junction, but dude, that place is packed every single year for whoever comes to that little junior college World Series. Same thing, NAIA up in Idaho. Once a community grabs it and loves it and supports it, you can't just flip a coin and go
That's
somewhere
their,
else.
like you kind of like what you said. That's their Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's their strawberry festival.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean?
There
I mean,
you go.
Portland people
We're gonna have
put
visitors, we're gonna
everything
prepare,
behind.
yeah.
Yes, and we're ready to go. We want to put on a good show up here.
Well, you think about Vanderbilt Stadium hosted Division III?
Yeah, was it 3 or 2? I don't remember, but I know
But,
which one you're talking about.
Full.
Yeah,
And all you heard was how everything
and you know
was perfect
Nashville
and
itself.
great.
Everybody wants to come to Nashville.
Yeah.
So and they did perfect. Well, some people talk about the new Titan Stadium. They're not going to move over to that because they
No.
want it to look full every time you turn the
That's
TV
right.
on.
That's right.
Sometimes you don't realize how many people are there when you're looking at certain
Yeah.
angles.
Yeah.
You just know it's full or not full. So I think that venue, whoever came up, well, of course it was Nashville Sports Authority that did it, but that idea was perfect. They sold it absolutely great. Right now, Nashville is one of the hot cities to go to. So
Mhm.
getting that part spent
Today, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
That may be the same word. Never mind.
Right. It doesn't matter. I like both of those words. But, yeah, and if they host it well, I think they took it from Frisco, Texas is who was doing it.
Uh-huh.
So by the looks of the way the stadium was full, and both teams, I don't remember who was in it, but they wasn't very close. But having full crowds, and the Nashville by itself, right now everybody would rather go to Nashville than Frisco, except me. I'd rather go to Frisco. Just because Nashville ain't Nashville anymore, dude.
That's because you're here.
I don't
you're
like it
considered
anymore.
Nashville. It's kind of like the fisherman. You're on the bank. You want to be on the bank so you can throw it out and come in, but then all of a sudden you want to be in the water so you can throw it to the bank and come out to the boat because you think it's going to be better. So it's kind of like
I'm
it just
with you.
depends on where
it's changed though. It's not the same old Nashville.
what your thing is. Going off in different tangents here because we definitely don't want to stay on the same topic going
that'll
forward.
screw it up.
Going back to the softball World Series, were you okay with the ending? Did you get to watch any of it? Or
Yeah, I watched
what
a
was your
lot more
thoughts
of
on
it than I thought. Once Tennessee got put out, I thought I would hang it up.
I saw that one coming, and it wasn't because of Tennessee. I really felt like I don't, even though they had beaten Texas in that first game, I just felt like that's it. Texas is going to turn it around, and it didn't surprise me at all. When they came back around in the losers bracket, I was scared because I knew that pitcher was going to get hot. I just felt like she would, Keegan.
Yeah, they're a solid team.
Because she did the same thing last year. She didn't start off right, and then nobody was talking about her, and then she took it over.
Yeah, and to be honest, once Tennessee got put out, I didn't watch any more full games.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would roll in and notice, it's the 6th inning and pause it until dinner was ready and then watch it like that. But, but it didn't surprise me. I mean, I'm just glad Tennessee got there. A lot of people, it's weird.
Yeah, they were Final Four.
Yeah, they're like
that's
in college baseball, there's 340 college D1 baseball teams.
Okay.
And you finish in the top 8, you go to the World Series, and someone bashes you because you go 2 and toes. Give me a break, man. You got to the
Somebody's got to do that. There's always going to be one team that goes 0 and 2.
2 teams.
Yeah, you got top and bottom. You're right.
So, but why are you going to be bashing anybody, right?
Yeah.
It's
350 would love to change places with you.
Yes, there's absolutely no doubt.
Just let me be there.
So,
I
that's
thought it was good. Texas Tech, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of that
Well,
team.
they made you not like them after the little girl said something that our coach told her. Remember, she said
that was strange.
Yeah, and
I still wonder what that was all about.
Well, you know what happened is after the handshake line and they were walking, I'm sure one of the UT girls
could have been
said something, right? And dude,
I could see that now.
And you know what? I don't have a problem with the coach saying you should have stayed here. When has that become a federal lockup offense?
And, she didn't say it, obviously, but even if she had said it, maybe she was kidding. She goes, you should have stuck with us.
But even if she wasn't kidding.
Well, it was tumultuous when she left, supposedly,
Yeah, but, for more money, blah, blah, blah. But
tampering was mentioned, floating in the air.
but it's cool. But who cares?
I agree.
Right? I mean, in the whole scope of life, your ex-coach saying after they beat you, you should have stayed. When has that become a federal offense? When has that?
What got me is when they was you had people that was looking at the video frame by frame to see if they could read the lips of Coach Weekly's mouth as she was coming through the line, and they're like, "No, she didn't say that. You can tell. She said good game."
My thing was,
and I
who
thought
cares?
we're spending way too much time
Right.
on this.
And if she would have said it, if she would have said, "Yeah, I said it," who cares?
To me,
that was her
girl,
views.
If the girl actually heard that, that should have just been motivation to say, "I'll see you again."
Right.
You know,
which it was. Didn't they see him again? Or no? That
no,
was the
not,
end of it.
not
Yeah.
Tennessee.
But
they come all the way around and got to the finals.
Right.
Of
But
course.
I just can't see what the big deal was on that.
But again, I wasn't a fan of Texas Tech, but man, what credit! I ended up watching so many of their games because they would just come back and win it. And that coach, I'm like, what are you doing? And because he'd go through his pitch, he'd let them pitch maybe an inning and a batter, and then he'd go bring another one in.
Yeah.
And then he'd bring that other one back in.
That's the part I didn't know.
Because they was swapping on left field and first base
Right.
and just going back and forth. And I'm thinking, you're crazy. But then I guess that was kind of messing up the hitters.
Yeah, and boy,
for the other team.
in baseball, and a lot of people don't even know this, your starting pitcher can come back in as long as he stays in the lineup. One
Right.
time.
Right.
But I never knew in girls you could every inning, if you have two players and they stay in the lineup, that's
Yeah,
the key.
right.
They can just rotate like that. I never knew that
I
was
wasn't aware of
possible.
that either, I guess because I'd never really seen it to that extent.
No,
But, oh, man, it was crazy. But it worked. It got them to the finals.
It did work, and what I would
2
do
years
is
in a row.
one time through, swap them one time through. Because if you listen to baseball, the big thing is the third time through.
Mhm.
Once you hit the lineup, the third time through is when teams start picking up on you a little
Right.
bit. So
Actually, yeah, good point. Go
so
ahead.
I could see her going 9 batter, then we're swapping 9 batters, and we're rotating.
Well, that's basically what Coach Weekly did for Tennessee, right?
I don't. She did it more conventional way.
Well, in the game against Texas, they basically just went through one end of the lineup, I think.
right, but
and
then,
then,
they didn't
she
rotate
brought-
anybody back in, did they?
No, but what I was getting
Right.
at, she pulls the pitcher out, who had been phenomenal.
Right.
You were the freshman, and brings in Marquecos, and then all of a sudden 4 runs get scored. And a lot of people
Yeah.
were bashing Weekly, but to me, that was the game plan going in. And sometimes you just
It's
can't
a
sway.
gamble.
That,
Yeah, you
I'm
flipping a
I'm
coin.
gonna leave her out there to get through the lineup one time.
Absolutely.
And then I'm bringing who I know Pickens is on the team, but who you could say Marquecas was actually the best pitcher
Right, yeah.
statistically for the
Yeah,
Lady
she had a
Vols.
lower ERA and run to walk.
I was like, man, don't take her out. But then I got to thinking, you know what? That's a great idea. This is awesome because it was already the 3rd inning, and it just didn't work out. And I don't think you can blame Coach for that because I think the game plan initially on paper, that was solid, and I thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, and I don't blame the coach for any of that kind of stuff. It's easy to sit in the stands and critique people. I would have done it this way. Go get you a team and do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's my thing. I'll critique things like, why you hit and run here instead of blah, blah, blah. Little things like that. But as far as how you're doing rotations and stuff, until it happens, you don't know.
Mhm.
Like last night, the Mississippi coach, he should have cut his stud off at 100 pitches because when he got over 100, they hit that home run and the wheel came off. Of course, the second guy, they hit him even worse. So maybe they should have let him throw 180 pitches. I don't know.
That's where your teams that end up winning the baseball World Series comes out. It's your depth in pitching, right?
Yeah,
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's huge because
So many teams don't
one
have
guy's
that.
going to get to throw 3 times. Only one guy, like 100 pitch count
Gotcha.
deal.
Yeah.
Last night, Wednesday, and then the following probably Sunday. But it's not going to work out like that. But, yeah, your depth is everything in college baseball.
Wouldn't you say that was Tennessee's downfall in baseball this year? Now hitting, yeah, they hit dry spells and hitting.
Yeah,
But when you say it just seemed like anytime they went to the pen, if you didn't have a 5-run lead, then
Yeah, it seemed kind of weird. We were really freshman heavy on the pin part. But, the one kid that North Carolina started last night was 17 years old.
really,
Yeah, and then the guy who came in to finish it up was a freshman,
Oh my
18-year-old
gosh.
freshman. So those two freshmen didn't have a problem, but for some reason our freshmen just didn't seem to be up for the task this year. But I wish you wouldn't even brought that up because the East Carolina game, I was physically ill after that game. I normally don't get like it's just a sporting event. It's not a big deal, but that was such a poorly played game on Tennessee's part. They had so many chances to win. You know, like your
Do you
shortstop.
think they were looking ahead? Or?
I don't know what they were doing. Like your shortstop, dude. I put shortstop on a platter. He's your best athlete on the team. There's no doubt. And he may not be your best hitter, but he should be your best bunter. And for us, with a guy on third and less than 2 outs, we can't get a bunt down to get him in. Is astronomically unbelievable. You know, when he transferred, I didn't care because you got to get your bunts down, dude. It just you absolutely. You may not get called to bunt on that much during the season, but in practice, you're going to get called to bunt on all the time because you work on it. You got to get your bunts down. That's rule number one in my life on the offensive side of the ball. You got to get your bunts down when you're called to get them down. And then you got to move your guys over when you need to move them over. Everything else is different. But you've got those things you got to have because you could be going through a 0 for 20 slump, and you can't predict when your slumps are going to happen. You absolutely can't predict them. But you can help your team along by laying a bunt down here and there, moving guys over, hitting the ball to the right side, moving your guy to third, giving yourself up as a player to help your team score. That's what I preach all day long to my middle school kids and my summer league kids is, look, when you're doing your 0 for 15, I'm not benching you. You're going to keep getting your swings. But you've got to, when the situation comes up that you've got to help us out, you've got to cut this all down and do what you need to do.
Right. Right.
And that's the most that's the thing about baseball that's so mentally tough. You're 0 for 16. You're already wanting to jump off a cliff, right? But now you got to get up there and, okay, I'm 0 for 16, and here I've got to give myself up to get my runners over.
And, you know, the professionals that go through that will tell you, you just forget about that. You're only worried about the at-bats you're at now.
That's the one you got
I couldn't do that.
It's tough, dude.
I couldn't do that.
It's absolutely
I mean, everything
brutal.
would be gripped tighter and –
Right, and it's like pitching. I mean, when you come into a game, it's like my grandson. He's just a sophomore this year, but he got promoted up to varsity, and it's not just any varsity. Their high school team finished in the top 4 in the state in the upper division. So they're a legitimately good program. But they in the summer, their high school teams have a league.
Okay.
And they do it during the week. So if they've got anybody playing travel ball, they can go do their travel, but they got it during the week. You don't do travel in the week in most cases. Some tournaments you do. But they play each other. Well, you know, my grandson's first game as a sophomore on varsity pitching, you know, they got a hit late in the game to walk it off. And, you know, I called him. I said, you know, what's up? And he didn't think anything of it because he's been brought up that when you pitch, guess what? The one thing that's going to always happen when you pitch, you lose.
You're
going to lose.
You're going to give up a run.
Right.
You're going to give up a home run.
Yeah,
all that's going to happen.
It's all going to happen. And his attitude was absolutely perfect. Like, I didn't walk anybody, right? That's your number one. You don't want to walk the runs in. But, you know, they got a hit. He inherited 2 guys on, and he gave up a hit to right field to score the guy that, you know, but he handled it all perfectly. He just, you know, he said, I did the best I can. I didn't walk anybody. I hit my spots. The guy just got a hit on me. It is what it is.
And that's where the pitcher has to turn around and say, forget about that.
Forget about it. Yeah, you can't pull
one.
that. And they do. I've got middle school kids all day long remember their last bad outing. They can't flush it like they need to. And the key is you have to talk about it. That's the hardest thing that people don't understand. When you don't succeed, especially in baseball, you have to acknowledge it. It's absolutely critical in baseball. Yes, I booted that ball. Yes, I didn't get this bunt down. Yes, I walked this guy. Whatever. You have to acknowledge it, right? And then if there's anything that you can learn from it, learn from it, but then move on. But the kids that push back, or the parents even, that have an excuse for everything, right? They got a hit, but the ump didn't give me the corner. I struck out, but blah, blah, blah. You just can't have excuses. You just have to man up or grow up in softball and say, look, it didn't happen. Is there something I could have done better, Coach? Yes or no? Sometimes there's nothing you could do different. And then, but you have to acknowledge that you didn't get it done and then move on from it. But if you don't acknowledge it, then you're always going to be fighting that battle of denial, and the denial battle will keep you from getting better.
I agree. Speaking of hitting right on the zone, what are your thoughts on this automatic pitch ball strike
All right.
sensor?
It depends, right? Okay.
You know if it goes your way or not?
Right. Well, if I got Blake Owen on the mound, the kid from East Robb that I coached since he was 13, went to Vanderbilt, went to Belmont, played 7 years for the Orioles organization. When Blake was pitching, if the umpire would give me 8 inches off the plate, we were winning.
8 inches? My goodness.
8 inches, like that they do.
Who you got? Tom Glavine?
But 8 inches is all I need. Give me 8 inches off. If you give Blake Owen 8 inches off, we're winning the ball game because I'm going to find a run somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We're going to bunt. We're going to put pressure on people. We're going to find one single run. But with that being said, when I don't have Blake Owen, who can throw 92 and's got a wicked slider and can hit a spots, you know, I want actually 18 inches off the plate. But that kills your hitters, too.
That seems like a lot.
Yeah, it is. You'll be surprised how many really crazy calls
So
you
you're
get.
saying you don't like it as much because you like that the differences between the umpires as long as they're keeping it consistent.
Yeah, I think if
you
I
like
had to
that
vote,
human leeway there.
unless I'm a hitting team and my pitchers aren't that good, and then I don't want you to call strikes in the other box. So I'm two-faced. I think you just go with it if you can go with it, because at least then the human factor can't play in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I have had umps go both ways with it, right? Like, you know, and that's one thing I tell about fans. You know, everybody complains, like the new little thing is when you get parents that are chippy on a 9-year-old, the new little Instagram thing is, well, they're not getting a college scholarship now. Well, you know,
yeah, not after that.
Dude, they're not getting one when they're 16, 17, and 18 sometimes either, right? You know, come up to the high school. How many scouts have we had up here, you know, this year? They're not getting it then either, but you're serious then. You don't define when the seriousness starts, right?
So you think the Texas coach was at that 9-year-old's game and says, well, mark him off the list. I'll never come back to watch you again.
I don't know. I think what I'm saying is if parents don't take it serious at any level, how are you expect the kids to take it serious? Now, there is going overboard. There's going overboard on everything. But there is also going underboard. If you walk through the stands and ask a mom.
I don't know that I've heard that.
Ask the mom, what's the score? I don't know, but I've looked at this cool recipe that I just found, or I talked to Miss Martha for 7 innings.
Now, how often does that happen?
It happens all the time. There's parents that don't know what's going on at the ball game, and when
they're supporting their kid.
They're not supporting anything. They're just sitting in a chair like they are at home. When their kid doesn't have a good game after the game, they don't say anything to them. Like sometimes you got to tell your kid, you know what, you stunk today.
Come on now.
At any age, you have to tell your kid as a parent the truth. And if they've had but what they do nowadays is get in the car and say, your coach stinks, don't he? You know
now I knew we were getting somewhere.
But you know what I mean?
There was an ending
and
to
it's
this.
not all parents. That's why this year, a couple weeks ago, and I need to retract what I said, by the way, because I said I wasn't having as much fun a couple years ago because of some of the parents. And I said the parents. I should have said some, because I've got some parents that are absolutely phenomenal. I give speeches before every season about what you should expect, what as a parent how you should handle this kind of stuff. And I have some, the Harbins, they're absolutely phenomenal. They do. But then you got some that everything that doesn't go right is the coach's fault, and it's never their kid's fault. Absolutely never their kid's fault. And if you're that kind of parent, you're wrong. You're not going to get what you think you're going to get out of your athlete growing up.
Right.
Okay, you've got to take some ownership of what's going on, you know, at the field.
So who are you picking for the College Baseball World Series?
I don't know. I don't like any of it. The thing is, I'm an SEC guy.
Can you believe none of these teams were in there last year?
Yeah, that I don't like. That makes me
weird.
Suspicious in a little way that some of the bracketeering may have been fudged. Bracketeering was a little bit fudged. Just like when Tennessee, and I'm not, it is what it is. Tennessee should have beat East Carolina in the opening game. But when we were bracketed with East Carolina, who year in, year out's got a really good program, and their coach is awesome, at North Carolina, which is not a hitter's ballpark in any stretch of the imagination, that got me leery period. That I felt like we were picked on that draw.
Hmm.
UCLA was given a cupcake bracket, and they couldn't even win it.
Yeah, that was weird.
Cal Poly coming out. I
Two
mean,
years in a row, the number 1, number 2 team in the
but
country didn't even make it to
Cal
Supers.
Poly rolling out of your region and winning it. But Cal Poly's got a legitimately, they're a kind of team that you don't want to play a 3-game series with on the week when you're trying to get rankings because they'll beat you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're a solid program, but they're not a team that should beat the number 1 team in the country.
Speaking of, I had it in my notes for last week, and I don't have it with me today, so I don't have the team.
You didn't shout me out last week either, by the way.
I was waiting for the other guy to do that. I feel like I mentioned you about something though, but anyway, you got me off track there. I had a thought. Yeah, forget. Oh, there was a team, like a top 20 team, that canceled their midweek game at the end of the season, and everybody said it was because it would hurt their RPI by playing such a weak team. So they didn't play them, even though I'm thinking, why would it matter? Because if you win, why does it matter
I don't
their
know.
strength?
I guess because
but they said it would mess up their strength of schedule,
right.
And they didn't want to fall down in the rankings, so they just canceled that midweek game.
I can see that.
Is crazy.
If your RPI sitting about just say 20, and you roll into a midweek game against UT Martin, who's like 300 on top team near the bottom, that's going to pull you down because they're here. Right, but I don't know. I don't believe canceling.
I just think it makes the coach. I think it makes the coach. Could you imagine Coach Ferguson saying, I'm not going to play this team. I'm going to take one off the schedule because I'm afraid it's going to. Or Coach Stein.
I could see Coach Ferguson saying, I'm not going to play this team because if I lose, I don't get to the tournament, and if I don't play, I do.
I don't see that.
Yeah, I do. Of course.
So
you're going to gamble. You're going to gamble.
Yes.
No, especially
he don't. If you think that's just like you were talking about seating, bracketing, where everybody got put at.
Right.
People are kind of complaining about how things work out in the World Series and the finals, and they should have been. Why are these two teams playing right off the bat? Because they should have been in the finals game, and they're upset about it. If you think you're the best team, why do you care? Why do you care who you play, when you play? To me, it don't matter. I'll play you on game number 1 if I think I'm the best team. Why do I want to push you off into the championship game?
Yeah, I agree with that.
If I think I'm going to lose, I don't really care to lose in the championship game any more than I care to lose in the first round.
Yeah, I'm good with that. But I'm saying if you have a game that if you play it, you're not going to get in the next bracket. And if you don't play it, you are. It's all about advancing.
But how would they know that, though?
Well, I don't know, but they did here for some reason.
Well, that's
my
just
point.
all...
If you went to Coach Ferg and said, look, if you play this team tonight, you're not going to get to be in the district tournament. Doesn't matter if you win or lose, you're not going to get in
Well,
it.
you're taking it wrong.
Oh.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Well, I thought
I'm not
that's
talking
what
about.
they did.
I'm not talking about not getting in or getting in. They didn't want to drop down in their seating.
Right, but they were still going to get in.
They wanted to try to keep it up so they could have a home game.
Okay, I thought it was just
a
getting
host
in.
site. Sorry for
Yeah,
the
I thought
regionals.
it was just getting in. Period.
No.
But a host site, now that's pretty big too. Though.
It is.
So I don't know. We'd have to get Coach Ferg and see what he says. And it just depends. Are we going to get the real Coach Ferg, or are we going to get the politically correct Coach Ferg?
Here we go. I'm sorry, Coach Ferguson, for
Coach
dragging your
Ferg
name
knows
into this
that I
conversation.
think a lot of him. He's how many years has he been here now?
I think that was the 5th year last go around.
Yeah, you're the one who puts that on a sheet. I don't remember.
but it's been 2 or 3 days since I looked at it.
Coach Ferg has grown so much as a coach. It's just unbelievable. There's no doubt he's one of the best coaches that we've ever had up here in basketball, without a doubt. It's not even close. And the biggest reason why I believe this is his pedigree is post. He's a post player. That's what he grew up doing. So, Coach Kington's a post coach, dude. His high school coach is a post dude. I don't know what they run at Tennessee Wesleyan. I have no clue. But for him to have that pedigree in him, means that that's what he believes in. That's
right.
But the team he got dealt this year was not a low post type of team. It was a fast team. It was a quick team. It was everybody get the ball, and for him to all in on that, There's a
Yep.
lot of coaches that I've seen, and I'm not naming names, that has had kids that could do the kind of offense that Coach Ferg had this year that wouldn't do it.
Because that went against their
That
quote system.
That was against
Philosophy or
yes,
whatever.
both of those words are correct. Coach Ferg went with built his team around what he had, his talent, and for you to do that as a coach, that's phenomenal. Because the training and the reps and all that you do outside scrimmaging's all the same. Right? You do your weights, all that stuff. But it's in your in-game preparation. And for Coach Ferg to get totally against a point guard dribbling the ball up floor, trying to feed the post relentlessly over and over and over and over and over and over, he got totally away from that. He just
Even though he had MVP post player.
He
that
did.
you could,
He did.
nobody would have doubted you for just saying, make him the focal
Totally.
point of everything.
Right. And I think the other thing that helped, and I know people are going to be mad at me, but they shouldn't be, because if they know that how much me and Avery Hughes get along, I mean, I love the kid. He's going to do fantastic. But I actually think him getting hurt actually helped our dynamic as far as the way we ran offense. Because if you think about all the points Keelan scored on getting the ball but moving 2 or 3 feet on the dribble to an open spot, other side of the go. If Avery would have been there, he would have had another post guy in that area that would have clogged it up. It actually gave Keelan more room to operate because Keelan's strength is athleticism, period. And I think him being the quote 5 guy, even though he's not really a 5 guy, he's more of a 4 guy, and we had all these 1s and 2s, it actually opened up the middle more for him to be able to be athletic and get around some of the defenders easier, because defenders feet-wise can't keep up with him.
Well,
there was no way in the world. And if you go back and watched every game, you would see it. I mean, we got the luxury of getting to see all the games. But Keelan did some unbelievable moves. But if he's playing 4 and we got a 5 guy in there, there's more clogged up stuff going on.
Good point. I don't know how we've done this. We went through softball, baseball, now basketball. We're at a football camp.
We are, but it's hard to announce a football camp.
And how
coach goes back.
Have they given a number
of?
Have they given a number of how many kids here?
I know. 80. That's pretty impressive.
It's a good crowd.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I did a couple interviews, which I'm terrible at doing. So anyway,
I don't think it was that bad.
It was horrible.
So,
but it's better when you take over for me. You're a great interviewer. You're Oprah Winfrey of Sumner County.
I could go so many different directions with that statement. Sumner County, is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm not gonna just lock you into Portland. There may not be anybody good interviewing in Portland, but you are. But in the whole county, you do a great job.
All right, that's enough. So we've got, looks like what, three different groups, and I'm assuming you've got quarterbacks, linemen, and receiving and running backs all in a group.
Let's see what time it is. We're on the 10.
Oh, you've got the agenda. That's right.
Yeah, we're at the defensive skills. So we're doing defensive skill rotations.
Okay, I can see that. If you can see what we're doing right here in front of us, as you got.
Yeah, the DBs.
They look like that. Yeah, exactly. You said what I was going to say.
Yeah, the DBs are there. Over on the far left, looks like lineman drills going through.
Teaching them on the back step, as if you're a defensive back. And what I noticed as soon as I came up is how many girls are here for the camp. And with flag football coming up and being a hit like it is, I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see that there are girls here that are trying to get that skill too.
There's a Portland High School Hall of Famer. I think he was inducted 2 years ago. Really close friend, Chris Rippey. His daughter plays flag football for Warren County High School, and she is a phenom. He sent me some videos of her, and guess what? She's just like her daddy. She can
just
flag
like her
play.
daddy. You mean she looks good in a suit?
Well, no, she looks good on a football field with a ball in her hand.
Gotcha.
Because she's smooth. She's going to go to college somewhere. There's no doubt. But yeah, he sent me some videos of her playing, and she's pretty high ranked up. And like I said, she's got her daddy's skill set for sure.
But yeah, I like that. I like seeing that. because it's kind of the same drills I would say would work. For
Yeah,
both.
you don't emphasize tackling quite as much like on the
Correct.
wheel over here on the right.
Yeah.
That would be more flag removing kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But
And it looks like we got maybe 4 high school football players here that's helping out. Is there more than that?
yeah, it's always good to have high school football players.
Get your headset on there.
There's a headset right
Yeah.
there.
We'll take
Put
all.
that on and talk.
Yeah.
I was going to leave at 10:30. I guess we'll stay till 11. My wife's probably going, yay. No.
So how many players, football players, do you think we've got out here helping?
Man, we probably started out with maybe 15. I don't know how
wow.
many. Yeah, there was a pretty good group on the indoor this morning on the warm-ups and stuff.
Okay.
Let's see. There's 2, 3. I don't know. I see 8 or 10 out here on the field, I think.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 that probably would like to go back to their high school days. And
Well, I see 7 of them across the field there. They're not doing much helping over there.
they're overseeing. So, and I'm sure y'all have already talked about all this, but it started out in the inside, what, 7:30 this morning?
I think registration started at 7:30. At 8 o'clock, we got started with just a quick introduction of all the coaches, and then they put the kids through some stretching and drills like the high school does. And then they went to some agility training at 6 different stations where they rotated through.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get them going and moving. And then they came out here and had an offensive time period where all the kids moved through an offensive line drill, a quarterback drill, a receiver drill, running back drill, and now we're in the defensive part of it.
So have you gotten used to Coach Dupree yet? Have you gotten?
Listen, I've met Coach Dupree.
You got him figured out?
I met Coach Dupree in 2012.
Okay.
My son played for him at Knox Middle School, and I actually met him when my son was going into 5th grade. And the reason I met him was at that time, Beach had a junior program, and Hendersonville had a junior program.
Okay.
And my son was going to Knox and was zoned at the time to go to station camp, and there was no program, a junior program for station camp.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually went to Coach Dupree and asked if I could start a junior program at Knox for 5th and 6th graders, and that's how I got to know him. I started a junior Mustang program there, and been coaching with him since then. And I think that's 2012, maybe 2013.
Wow.
Should we introduce our guest?
So I'm Coach Rush. I'm a volunteer. I don't teach. I work full time, and had an opportunity. I've been with Coach Dupree at Liberty Creek the last few years, and he gave me an opportunity to come up here and hang out with the high school kids, and got to go through spring camp, and it was just an absolute blast. I tell everybody when I was in high school, my dream was to coach high school football and be a teacher. And life changed, and it
happens, don't it?
It does. So
you needed to get money quicker.
Trust me, my wife's an elementary teacher, so we understand that more than you know. But it has been an absolute joy to be up here in this community and work with these kids.
Okay.
I tell my wife they're just some kids that are going to be a blessing in my life, and I hope that I can be as much of a blessing to them as they are going to be to me.
So you're going to be able to help out even when the fall gets here?
Oh yeah,
okay, good.
I'm able to get here by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm going to give them everything I got.
Wow,
and,
good.
So that's the thing, So I live in Hendersonville, so it's about a 30-minute commute.
Right.
But I get here, and
sometimes better, sometimes worse.
It's depending on the weather. I like to ride a motorcycle, so it's usually better.
There you
go. But no, spring was just an absolute joy, and I cannot wait till July 27th when the kids go back in the afternoon and I can get back rolling.
There you go.
Because right now I'm on the group text and seeing everything they're doing and seeing the improvements they're making and all those things. But I'm at work going, man, come on.
Yeah.
I was. Well, you're how old?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, he's a man child.
And I know some said when he was in middle school, they said, get him on some weights, and when he hits that growth spurt there, usually right about this time,
Yeah.
He's going to be a hoss. And sure enough, I'm already seeing it.
And such a likable young man.
Oh gosh, yes.
Just absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at him working with the kids.
Yeah.
You can't teach that. You just got it.
No,
in his
you
heart.
really can't.
No.
That stuff like that shows me the most about a young man. growing
Absolutely.
up.
Yeah. Look at him.
Yeah, and for them to take their time to help out on this occasion on a Saturday morning when they could be sleeping in.
Absolutely. On a non-mandatory deal, And I talked to Coach Dupree earlier today. He was talking about, up to this point, nothing's been mandatory for the kids to show up, and the amount of participation that he's had over the summer has been very impressive.
Well, that's good.
So, yeah.
So I think now they're doing their when I was going to boogie time.
When I was going to boogie.
Their break.
Yeah, they're going to take a quick break
Yeah,
and then go into
halftime
competition.
water break and hydration chalk talk. So I don't know if chalk talk means in front of a board or what.
What is chalk talk?
It talks about X and O's or something. Right.
I'm looking at Coach Dupree over there. I don't think they're going to be in front of a chalkboard. I bet he gives them the rundown for what's going to happen next. I think the competition ought to be fun to watch. We'll see what kids want to compete. Should be fun. I think they're going to do some maybe some relays and tug of war and
that
flag
kind of
football.
stuff is always fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
One thing for everybody to know, our preseason scrimmages, July 31st versus Rocheview, and all the scrimmages are at home. August 7th, 6 p.m. versus Gallatin, and August 14th, 6 p.m. at versus Westmoreland. And I think that's considered a jamboree because the 21st is the opening season at White House Blue Devils. So we'll get a win under our belt right out of the gate. But make sure you're there for that. Another thing, too, is shout out to Sumner County Maintenance Department. They worked with Coach Dupree on creating a training room in the football locker room. So they put in a lot of effort and time to do that. So thanks to them for getting that squared away.
Yeah, and I'd like to add that was definitely something that was needed just to get that whole part of the team out of the coaches area and in a separate situation where it was more a private situation for the kids that are being worked on and obviously for the trainer and for the coaches. So yeah, absolutely, thank you guys. And it looks great. I'm in the drywall business, so the first thing I did is I walked in the locker room this morning to look at the finishing, and it absolutely impressed me.
Yeah,
looks
and
good.
One thing I like about, and I don't know what we did before, but one thing that I did hear Coach Dupree on one of the shows that I didn't get to be at, I don't even know. I think I was at a baseball game coaching, but he mentioned cleaning the facilities up, and that's always been something I'm old-fashioned or not. That's just something that I've always thought is important. It doesn't matter if your facility is 100 years old or 1 year old. It's still your facility, and you should be proud of it. And he talks about having teams, different people doing different things. And I bet you $100 he does what I did back when I was in the Army. I was squad leader, is he shows everybody what's expected of him.
Right.
And then that way, when you show them the way you would do it, then that's like day one. In the military, you do on week deals.
Right.
I'd always take the 2 guys assigned to latrine duty or 4 guys, and I'd go in there and do it.
Latrine duty.
And in the military, you got to clean your own latrine. Just an FYI. It's amazing. Some people don't think that's something you're supposed to do anymore. But if you're in a work environment and you go to the bathroom and you make a mess, guess who's supposed to clean that up?
Right, and for,
you do. How many do though?
And for coach, it's more about it's even more than just the daily cleanup routines. It's about the big P. We're going to have pride and pride in our facilities. And when you look around and you see some things that just need to be picked up, or some buildings that need to be washed, or maybe a fresh coat of paint, or whatever it is, if we're going to really push the kids to have pride in their program and pride in their school and pride in themselves, we need to set the standard. And I think Coach Dupree is going to bring that standard to a different level, and I'm excited about it. I think the more you guys get to know that man, the more that you're going to like him and appreciate him.
Well, just that stuff means a lot to me because even before when we have games up here at the high school field, if there's trash on the ground, guess what we do before we do anything? We go pick it up.
Right.
Period. No, we didn't lay it down there. It's not our trash, but it is our trash because it's on our field.
Right.
And I don't mean on the field itself too. I mean the fans, the trash they left behind.
Mm-hmm.
And I know early on my kids look at me like, really, we got to pick up trash? You absolutely have to pick up trash because this is your facility.
Right.
And you don't want anybody to come into your facility and think negative of your facility.
Well,
and then, like I said, there's some people talk about our little hitting thing.
But they don't understand what they have here. They're in a small town. I mean, when I look over here and see this water tower right here, and it's got the word Portland or the word Portland on it, in a small community, and man, where else would you want to play high school football?
Right. Wow.
And if they can, man, anyways.
Well, it's the same thing with the baseball field here. This wasn't a county-built baseball field. We built this baseball field out of hard work.
Yeah.
And doing, there was kids 4 years, didn't even get to play on the field that worked roadblocks every weekend, every other weekend. I think they ended up putting an ordinance up here about how many roadblocks you could do because every weekend. But they knew that they wasn't going to get to play on the field, but they were proud of the town Portland and the legacy they were going to leave. And a matter of fact, one day I need to get the head coach to have an appreciation night up here and see if we can dig up all those kids. Michael Conyers, Jamie Clemens, a bunch of kids that put in so much time to help us have the funds to build this. And is it the best field in Sumner County? No, it absolutely isn't the best field in Sumner County. But you know what? We were playing at Meadowbrook Park, a dirt infield.
Yeah.
You can't go over there and look anymore because nothing's there anymore. But it wasn't a high school grade place to play, and this is a high school grade. So be proud in what your community and what you've done with your staff.
Absolutely.
That's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think about all the fields? Baseball, soccer field?
Well, the whole story, all of this, when this school was open in '99,
okay,
you can't visualize it now, but I've got pictures. This was over there was all dirt. It looked like a moonshot. And I remember Coach Short was our principal then. And we had been working a couple years trying to find one of the schools up here with enough land to build a baseball field on, and nobody would let us have any. And I remember going into Coach Short and saying, where's the line at? And he showed me, and I said, can we build a baseball field down there? And he kind of laughed, like, yeah, if you could pull this off, go for it. But he said, go for it. And, me and my wife and son, we were playing summer ball while our main field was Cheek Park, which is Franklin High School Park down in Franklin, Tennessee. And we went out and we loved the field. It was a beautiful layout. And we measured everything. We came up here and staked it all out. And like I said, it was a moonshot. And there was a local businessman named James Hodges that worked construction. What better person to talk to about it? And I brought him up here one day, and, we had little stakes. And he had 2 kids playing Dixie ball, so I was smart. I knew that he had an interest in, baseball in the community. He may have done it anyway. And I told him, I said, this is our dream. I said, the only problem is we only have enough money for the fence for the outfield and from dugout to dugout. I said, but we don't have any money for grading because grading's expensive.
Sure it is. Absolutely.
And I said, we're asking, would you help us? And it took him about 3 seconds to say yes, absolutely.
Come on.
And he got it graded, and we started doing all the rest of the stuff, and then it's grown. The county later on came in and helped us with some irrigation and that kind of stuff. But, the community built the thing. So having pride and to me, that's more prideful. We did it, right? The community. We didn't have the county come up here and do it. We did it.
Right.
And I don't know why that means so much more to me than if someone does it for you, but it just seems like that should make you even more proud that you did it yourself.
Well, if you build something, when you look back at it and you built it, it does give you a sense of pride. I've been all over the state, and I've probably been in some of the nicest football stadiums in the state. But the night of the purple and white game, when I went into the Portland Stadium, and this is the God's honest truth, when I went into that locker room for the first time, I got cold chills.
Oh, wow.
And I looked
Wow.
at Coach Dupree,
Yeah.
and I almost had tears in my eyes and said, this is what it's all about. This is high school football at its finest.
Right.
And, I know the kids, the nostalgia probably, they probably don't understand that, but I'm telling you, when I walked in there, I thought, man, there is nothing more hard-nosed about high school football in the South, in a small town, in a water tower town, and man, if you can't get excited about that, it's tough to get excited, I think, right?
Yeah,
Right.
wait till that train comes through.
Hey, awesome. Come on. That's our stadium. I've been with some teams that have played.
Well, that
in
was
stadium.
that was a positive statement. If you think you had chill bumps
Oh,
before when that
sure.
train
Okay,
comes
good.
through, especially if it's right where we're on
Yeah,
a scoring drive.
that's cool as heck.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
But
So
and that's
good
the
stuff.
thing here. I'm not trying to take credit for the field myself. Steve Bruce. I mean, I could name Rick DePriest. I could give you not hundreds of people's names, but a lot of people's names.
You're
who
just name
contributed.
dropping now.
Well, there's the people who, Steve Bruce
Exactly.
and Billy Joe Roberts. They
That's right.
worked in concrete, so I knew their kids were playing baseball. They actually played on my summer team. We knew they would do that for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ain't easy to come out and lay concrete and stuff like that, but you didn't have to ask twice.
Right.
They were there. A lot of people in the community would donate their tractors to help us do this and do that, but it's a community field, and we should have total pride in it. Not
Absolutely.
say, well, Bubba's better. It's not better because they didn't do it.
Right.
Well, and I'm afraid that history or nostalgia or whatever, I'm afraid that's going to get lost as the years go by, that people are going to forget.
Well, I'm doing my best to keep bringing it up, but
to know how that all got started, because that, to me, that's an impressive story. And a story that needs to be told.
And where
pretty
that
often.
got started is when you talk about the soccer and
Yeah.
softball field. Well, when we were in the middle of getting this field, one of the parents, Becky Askew and Rocky Askew's, I think Rocky was the dad. I'm getting older too. Sometimes the names don't.
Right.
But their
Sounds
son
good.
was one of the best kickers we ever had up here in football.
Yep.
But he came down and go, you think we could do the same thing up there for soccer? And I said, absolutely. And there was a dirt road down here. And I said, absolutely. And I'm not 100% positive, but I think the Hodges group leveled that out for him. And then all of a sudden some softball coach shows up and goes, hey, you think we could do that? And I'm not the principal. I don't know. I said, I'm sure there's no plans for this, and they start getting involved. So these whole 3 fields here was built community-wise. The county didn't build any of it. Now, they may have given money here and there for certain things. I know the baseball team paid for the girls' dugout tops. For some reason, the deal we were getting, we could only get if we bought the tops for the girls, too. I'm not sure how that – but I didn't care. I just said, here. But this whole road, we've laughed. Kyle, you've got a name for it. I don't even remember it.
The Panther Athletic Complex.
Yeah,
or Panther Park is what
Panther
we
Park.
usually say, because that's easier.
Yeah, but this was all done by the Portland community. It's not a Sumter County built anything. And the school doesn't ever need to forget that either, because when fundings go out and stuff, they need to remind them, hey, maybe give us a little bit for an upgrade here and there, because we built, all this whole road down here, we built it on our own.
Right. Again, a credit to the community and just the reinforcement that there's nowhere better to play than a community that will get behind a school and just have pride in their students and their athletes. And pride's one of those things that's contagious.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Good point.
Yep. And, if it starts with a baseball field and moves to a soccer field and goes to a softball field and it just keeps moving. It's cool to see.
Right. And that's the hard thing up here sometimes is when we bring in, obviously you've got to bring in people that aren't from up here. And then some of the coaches, they don't really know the history. I know at one time we had 3 teams that kind of stood out above the rest. And the summer team, I used to run Spikes Baseball. That was our summer program up here. And we had purchased banners to put on the back fence. 2 teams that had went to the state tournament. We've only had 2 to go. And then the team before the 2002 team that went 2001, won the district and all that. But, another coach rolls in, nothing on Stein. It was all gone before he got here. But before that, they take those banners down for whatever reason. I'm not sure. Because my thing is, if you kids can look like the banners inside the football facility, sometimes they aggravate me that they're in there because only football people see it. Those things got a lot to be proud of.
Absolutely.
And when you show kids this, there may be some year gaps there, but the thing you're showing them is we've done it before. We can do it again.
Right.
And the more you show past accomplishments,
right,
it is, to me, that's what you need to do. You don't forget the kids and the program. And it ain't kids, dude. When you have a good team that goes to state or a football team that won, it's coaches, it's players, and it's parents too.
It's community, absolutely.
Because if your parents, and I can remember back when we had season tickets for years up here in football, you know, them stands are packed, cheering your teams on road. We used to have, sometimes we'd go on road games to Waverly and stuff. We'd have almost as many fans as the other team would have. And all that kind of stuff is huge. And you just can't forget that. To me, a coach's first job taking over a program is learning our past. And the thing about it is you might not all learn it from your faculty here.
Right.
But you'll learn it from someone in the community.
Right.
And, you know, that's one of the things that I've kind of tried to do is keep the baseball thing alive. Try to remember I've got a list of all kids that's ever played D1 baseball up here. Most of the kids that ever went to college baseball up here are past records. You know, just ask somebody, and then those things right there, you need to tell your new kids now. Say, this is what we've done. We've had kids go to college. We've had kids go to state tournament. We've done this. We've done that. Let's get together and do it again.
Right. Absolutely.
Let's put another banner on the wall.
That's right. Yeah, that's exciting.
You got me riled up there, Mr. Thayer.
You're easily riled up. All right.
I'm going to go out here and hang out with these kids. I appreciate
Thanks for joining us,
yeah,
Coach Rush.
Thank you for the shade. It was hot when I walked over here.
That was a good trade-off, wasn't it?
Yeah, I brought my little fan, too, just in case.
Yeah, it was a great trade-off. Little breeze, but these kids are hot, and I know you probably want to get over here in the shade, too. You said this wasn't your seat, but it was probably your spot, and I apologize.
No,
nice meeting you guys.
All right.
Thank you. All right, so we got about 8 more minutes left. I'm late to my appointment, but that's okay. I don't get to hang out with you very often anymore, so when I get a chance to highlight with
for that.
the voice of the Panthers basketball and baseball and soccer, I like the opportunity.
Thank you. I don't know what else to say.
Well, and it's like when it all started, you asked me, hey, will you come help me do the Saturday show? I said, absolutely. And the guests would actually be a distraction.
Yeah, that's funny.
They would get us off of our.
Well, the start was baseball, though, right?
Yeah, the first time we ever met, I guess Coach Miguel had to do something and quit helping you. And
yeah,
Corey Lane,
his work schedule changed.
Yeah, Corey Lane introduced us, and I was honored to get in the box with you guys. And I didn't bother you with my views of baseball. And then you asked me, I think you asked me about football next.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how it
football, you asked me if I knew anything about football. I said absolutely. And I'll never.
Oh, I thought you said absolutely not. That's the reason we brought you in.
No.
Just to kind of fit in.
No. But I tell you the
I
truth,
misunderstood.
I'll never forget, because I'm trying to remember, was the first game I ever did was actually the White House game at home.
Okay.
I could be wrong. That could have been the second game of the year, but I'll never forget walking into the stadium that night. The way the crowd, the people, was interacting with me and stuff. I thought, man, this is
You're important.
Well, yeah, it was kind of weird because I never realized how many people really paid attention to it. You know what I mean? I knew it was big. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from the football program. Football's always first up here in Portland. It is what it is. But I didn't realize the broadcasting part of it was that. And it was really cool. I enjoyed it. I wasn't very good at first. Not that I'm very good now, but I've learned to kind of stay in my lane and speak when I need to speak, except for when big plays happen, like Keelan catching the ball at Hunter. What is it?
Henry County.
Henry County. I didn't mean to run all over Andy on that, but I was just in the moment of the catch, and that's me. If you know me, that's just what I do. But I think it turned out all right, to be honest with you. And what I love the most is somebody, I think it was you said you were listening to their station because you couldn't get us, and you could hear me me screaming on their show about the touchdown. So that had to be absolutely cool that their fans got to hear Portland like rub it in a little bit.
Could hear it in the background. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy, but that was fun. I'm honored to be part of the crew. We had to change up things a little bit just because the quality, the announcing part of it never changed, but just we were going off air and just a lot of people were starting to be aggravated about that kind of stuff. So we had to make a change for the community because once we start the broadcast, they expect it to stay all the way through. And I remember the station camp game. The first half of the game, I couldn't even engage because I was too busy trying to get some other areas straightened out electronically and that kind of stuff. So I think this is going to work out. There was some, like we've said before, some growing pains early on trying to figure the equipment out and the OBS and that kind of stuff. But I think, knock on wood, we've overcome that barrier. As long as the computer doesn't crash, we're going to be good to go. Had to get a new mixer. A different style mixer, which is a little bit more user-friendly to what we're going. But I think we're going to have a good season. I know Andy's going to do play-by-play. Me and Miguel's going to do color. You're welcome to come in and do anything you want to. But we're not going to force you. It's if I'm involved with it, one of the things when they came to me about doing this is, and if it hurts anybody's feelings, get over it. But my number one, without doubt, criteria was Kyle Eden had to be on board, or I was not going to do it, period. Because at that time, I hadn't worked with Miguel at all, period. We did some Saturday shows.
That's a good point.
But
yeah.
I had worked with you, and this was across the board, not just football. And as I said, if Kyle's not in, I'm not in. But if we can get him to come in, then I'm all for it because, one is I think we can pull it off, and two is it would be better for the community. So you were the deciding factor for me. If you said no, I would not have done it, period.
Wow. Well, it was definitely a beta version the past, 6, 8, 10 months, whatever, kind of the beta version going on. So
yeah, well,
it'll really show up now. And it was a good idea to say, hey, let's start this during basketball so that by the time we get to football season, we're in a routine and we know what we're doing. And
if you remember 2 years previous, we were doing our cell phone call-ins with little $19 headsets plugged in.
Yeah.
Because the equipment was down and not working. So, getting above that footprint wasn't going to be hard at all. Just getting it figured out. And like I said, it's been clean. The baseball games we did, I've had a lot of people come back and said, hey, that the audio was perfect.
Really?
Yeah, the play-by-play guy was good. We dealt with you doing the color.
We dealt with you.
We dealt with you. That's kind. He didn't like me sticking him in the corner of that press box. So moving forward, I'm going to sit on the corner and let our guests sit in the middle. But Zed, he wasn't happy down there. He said, I'm the star of the show, Coach there. I need to move over a little bit. But, if we do baseball this coming year, I would think we would. But, it's going to be up to Coach Hunt. Of course, we could do it in center field in a truck with no problem at all. We don't have to get permission to show up on campus and say what we want to say. So
get a drone out there, couldn't you?
Yeah, we could, without a doubt, get a drone. And, that's something we may add later is get a little bit more video. The thing about the video is it'll be more like game changer kind of thing because we're not going to have someone who can just rotate the camera and keep up with it.
Right.
It'll be have to zoom in as much as we can and try to figure that out. So that's always a possibility. We're not going to be able to do it with football, I don't think, because the city we've contracted, not money wise, but we've got
There's an agreement.
They have a stream of video and we feed into that. So I don't think. And then they play that back on the local stations and stuff like that, right? Isn't that the way they do it?
Yeah.
On their
it's
website.
on the Portland QB Club website and then the local cable channel.
Right. So we'll be doing audio out through the OBS YouTube, but the video will still be like the old days where you'll have to go into their website to get it. I don't think we can reverse stream it back out through OBS. I'm going to try to see if we can do that. I just don't think you can. So nothing's changing. You're still going to pick up audio this way, and then you'll still do your video like you've done it in years up here. So that won't be a big deal. Basketball, we had some problems with audio because we were going straight out of the mixer to the NFHS. And for whatever reason, they didn't know how to turn their side down remotely. Not the high school, but the people in Atlanta. So we've got a little box now that we think we can control the volume. So that's going to be
so cool. Dealing with, the folks in Atlanta, the truck in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. And all they needed to do is turn down the feed on the computer here in the gym. And I don't have access to that computer, so I couldn't do it. They have to do it remotely.
Well, that wasn't the only issue either, was it? If the music they was playing during halftime and timeouts, if it was too loud, and if it was a registered song, a pop song, a top 40 song,
that happened.
It was picking up, and YouTube was cutting us out, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that was more YouTube picked up on remember the pregame videos that we had?
Yeah.
Those.
Is that what it was?
That's what. Yeah, his songs were. They were legitimate songs, and you can't play them on YouTube without the benefit. So I had to learn to mute that video and bring in a free song.
That's what it was.
Yeah, but I remember the first time we got a little warning, I go, oh, my gosh, what are we doing wrong? So I figured I had to go see what they were warning
that's
us.
That's a good catch.
And it was that. So, yeah, the football season, I'm still got to work on a scoreboard coming up during the live post. I sent it to you the other day. I mean, I just wanted to look a little bit better, and we'll just have to put a sticky note somewhere to remind whoever's doing the computer to update the score, which is really easy as the game's progressing. But, if we're doing a good job broadcasting, you're going to know the score soon enough, because that's part of what we need to do is keep you updated on time on the clock and the score, obviously. And Andy does a good job, along with the whole crew does a good job of trying to keep that up.
It's becoming a production, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fun, though. I think it's cool.
So I noticed here they just got through a drill where everybody was wearing the flags, and they were throwing the ball, and the defense, once the receiver caught it, was having to drag the flag off. I thought that was an interesting drill.
Yeah, well, they're doing a flag football segment, so that may have been what that's all about.
Well, they'll have boys flag football here before you know it.
Yeah, but it won't be during the same as football season.
Yeah, that'll be the thing they got to think about.
Yeah, well, we actually, Steve Bruce and Terry Barlow and myself started flag football years and years ago when our kids were too young to play peewee football, but old enough to catch balls. So over at Richland, I think we had enough for 4 teams, and that was pretty fun, flag football league.
Well, I like that they're having this camp. I think that does more than just get your kids ready or kind of increase their skill set. I think it also it introduces them.
That's what
this is a middle school coach staff. This guy is the high school coaching staff. Hey, this player is a high school football player. I think that helps.
I think it helps both. It gets
makes
the kids,
them feel like they're part of it.
Yeah, it gets the kids knowing the coaches in the community, which might in turn get them to want to go watch games on Friday night, which was huge back in the old days. And then it gets your players, the high school players, a chance to build character with these little dudes. And the more times you can get your players to go downward, so to speak, and interact, it builds their character. It absolutely builds their character. And you can watch the ones that are off to the side, the shy high school players. That's the ones you go out and go, hey, go take this group. You know what I mean? It's twofold here. You're doing a lot of good things. It's not just for the kids. It's not just for the coaches, but it's for your players too, the current high school football players. It's great stuff. So anyway, we're going to wrap her up. Do we have a show next week? I think we do.
We do.
So we'll see you, and I don't think I have any baseball games next week, so I'm good to go. Hopefully the voice of Panthers basketball, baseball, and soccer will join us.
I don't know. That just sounds that's too far. Maybe we should just go back.
What's that? Voice of the Panthers?
Yeah, it's just.
Well, I don't want to make you mad.
Well,
I don't want to embarrass you in front of anybody.
Why don't you just say my name?
Kyle Eden?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I try to compliment the people I work with if they deserve a compliment.
All right.
You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what. You do what you want to do.
And, well, what I
I'm
want
not
to
gonna
do
get upset.
is call you the voice of the Panthers. You know what? Andy's not going to have his feelings hurt. He does. We picked him.
You can have more than one, can't you?
Yeah, you
Okay,
can.
okay.
You can. But I just do this because, look, to me, you are the voice of the Panthers. You got me in this gig. You've kind of held it together.
Me.
Back when
So that's the problem.
No, you did.
That's how we got where we're at.
No, where we're at, I'm really proud of, by the way. But no, I mean, to me, you were the voice of the.
I got you.
You were the figure of this. What's going on? You know.
Gotcha.
Coach Miguel was busy on Saturday show. You invited me in on it, so I'm just paying you homage because one, I think you're dang good at it. And two is because you're a good guy and you deserve a pat on the back sometimes. All right, so just get over it.
Well, thank you. So that'll end our show, correct?
That will. I'm gonna do the blast and then we're gonna end it. Bye, guys. See you next Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Time. Hey, if you haven't liked us, that's okay. You don't have to like us, but please subscribe. We like to get those numbers up. Thank you. Take care. Peace out. If you're not watching the College World Series, you're wrong.